Hey y'all. Um, I had some appointments get scheduled due to weather, so I thought I would get on here and start answering a few questions. First of all, I'm going to apologize if I'm a bit shaky. I was looking for my tripod to come in today, and it has not got here yet. It has not gotten here yet. As you know, I am not polished with my YouTube skills or my editing yet, so you get to see all the faux pas. Okay. Anyway, I thought the most I'm asked so far has been, am I married? And what brought you to YouTube? So I will at least try to answer those. Yes, I am married. I have been with my husband 6 years in June. He's incredible, very loving, very sweet, very supportive, kind. There's just not enough words, but we did get married in November 11th of 2020, right before COVID hit. But anyway, it's 11/11/2020 now. I thought that was a pretty nice date when my husband brought it up. However, it was only a couple of weeks away. So, yeah. Oh, but we did it. We ended up having it in our backyard. My daughter ended up being our officiant, and it was great. It was a really nice day. His family flew down from, or some of his family flew down from Canada. The rest of them we had on Zoom, along with some friends of mine in Arizona, and it was a really, really, really special occasion. Um, my sisters in law came down, and I had been sick for the couple of weeks before, and they walked in. I didn't have to worry about nothing. I mean, they took care of everything. I don't know that that's ever happened before. It is what I used to do with my sister when she was sick, and I would go over to her house. That's one of the first things I would do is ask her what she needed me to do. So it was very nice to be on the other side of that. Now, this is very casual conversation here. Not going to mess with it. I'm going to put it out just like it is because that is the point of this channel, which I'm getting to the second question I get asked a lot. Why? What is it? What's aspiring angel? Can you really aspire to be an angel? Well, yes, but let me explain why I named the channel that. Um, I'm 54, turned 54 in September of last year, so I'm not just 54 and I'm not, you know, soon to be 55. I am 54 and a half. So, uh, not a young spring chicken anymore. I have also been having recently, very recent, like the last 4 years, some health issues. I've gone down journeys that I did not think that I ever would. And I understand a whole lot more about other people now than I ever thought I didn't know. Um, so let me just give you a short version of that. Um, these first few videos are going to be mostly, getting to know each other. So I want you to do the same thing after you like and share and subscribe to my channel, which I need because if we get to 50, I get to go live and then we can have a real chat. Um, and then we can start spreading this message. Um, so I would say 2014, 2015 was the beginning of my new me. Um, I went through a change, and I actually moved out of Texas. Not going to say it was a mistake, but it took me away from everybody that I loved. And yeah, it wasn't just a quick overnight trip to go see them unless I wanted to buy a plane ticket. So um, also, I had never flown before, and I moved out to Arizona. I took a job out there, began running the rehab part of the pharmacy, and I talked to people across the United States, um, doctors, patients, patients' families, and it was just a very educational but rewarding program. And uh, I worked with some wonderful nurses, became friends with them, and it just, when I could make the day of someone happen like it should, it was very special. It was a good feeling. I went home, sometimes in tears because of their stories, because these people were recovering from opiates, and we had an injectable medication that, I could make sure was there. And if it wasn't, then I was calling wondering why. And I wasn't always really patient. So, yeah, nobody's ever accused me of being too patient. um, so anyway, I got out there, figured out how to do that, realized that I really liked sharing my resources, and making things happen that might not have had I not helped. And that's not me being vain, that's me being very appreciative of where it put me, because it made me feel very good. And I hope that it helped change people's lives. Um, Now, I was out there for 3 years, and had became the head of my department, and or my program. And then, unfortunately, with you know the the big drug companies and the big pharmacies and all, which this was, it was a mail order. Um, it's very it moves very quickly, and I'm not used to that. I started my pharmacy career in Gladewater, Texas, and I started as a clerk, and it was just hometown people. My kids were little, uh, and I went to work behind the counter at what was called Eckerd. I don't know if y'all know Eckerd, but that's where I started, and quickly moved over to the next town, to a place called Brookshire's Grocery Company. It was a little family-owned chain, that mostly was in East Texas, and I became a tech right before I went to work there, and that was life changing. That job changed my life. Um, I already knew I loved customers. I already knew I liked working with the public, most of them. And this job put me in a situation to help when people really needed my help, you know. And I mean, it was, if somebody come in and they couldn't afford their medicine, I could make it happen. I had resources, you know, and I could talk to someone who was very upset because, you know, you're not back in the pharmacy because people are having their best lives when they come to see you. Most of them are not in the best day that they've ever had, okay? And some of them are in the final days of their life. And you get to share that on a very personal level. And I don't know if any of my people will ever watch this video, but I made friends in that pharmacy that I still have. And it's been, next year will be 10 years since I left there. Um, I met young parents who, when I left, were sending their kids off to college, and I saw older kids, who had just graduated, working in their career, starting their families, and going through, helping with their parents. It just changed my life. It did. I grew a different appreciation. I had already been in the healthcare industry as, um, the front office of a doctor's office and the unit clerk of a hospital floor, but I truly appreciated the human reaction to illnesses, um, sustainable Medicare, Medicaid, all of it. So, Very rewarding, very rewarding. And then I went out to Arizona, transitioned to helping addicted people overcome their addictions. Y'all, these are people, human beings, people's babies, people's husbands, people's wives. I mean, I saw all of it. And at first, I was very sad. I was very sad about it. Um, because addiction has touched my life with family members. And, but then I realized I have a resource. You know, I may not be able to solve all your problems, but if I have an answer or can get an answer, I'm going to. Okay. My kids know that. My patients know that. And now my subscribers are going to know that because that's my next question this channel. So, for the longest time, I have said, I wish everyone had the availability of resources that I have, or that my doctor's offices have, or, and what I found out is we need resources not just for medical, we need resources, period. Unfortunately, very quick succession, I lost my dad, my sister, and my mom from 2017 to 2020. So that made me the big sister, um, and you know, an orphan, I guess. And I lost my best friend. Yes, my sister was my best friend, my soulmate. Um, she was a very kind, sweet, ornery, stubborn, um, gentle person. And she was in my life from the time I had my life until the time she left. And um, I knew it would be hard. Never knew it would be that hard. Took me down some major roads, major life changes. Yeah, I literally relearned how to be in my life. And some of the people in my family were worried that I might not make that bridge. So, and I just had to. I had to because Paula would want me to keep helping. And that's what I'm here for. So I got off on a little tangent. I might do that every once in a while. But Paula called it, we're chasing rabbits. So, or we've, what would she call it? She called it, we switched gears without using the clutch. So uh, we would just talk and we would hunt for solutions to, she had a very extensive medical history, and she had a lot of illnesses. Unfortunately, there were cures for a lot of them, but there wasn't a cure for the main thing that finally wore her body out. And she was in renal failure. And she had fought that since she was 28, 29, and she was 53. She had had over 19 surgeries, and it's hard to watch somebody like that. I can't imagine going through that and not having someone being your advocate. And that's what I assigned myself to be. Here's my sister needing help, and I had a way to help her. I had resources. We all do. And that's what I want to talk to y'all about. We all have resources. We might not have $1 million to solve the world's problems, okay? And I don't know if $1 million would even do that nowadays, but we have resources. And what happens if we all get together and we share those? And what happens if we introduce love and positivity into the corners of our world? I'm not going to change. Unfortunately, I can't change the wars going on right now. I can't change the prejudices going on right now. I can't change the hate going on right now, but I can combat it in my circle. And I want my circle to be bigger because I truly believe that if we can change us and then we can change our circle, our little corner of the world, then those corners at some point are going to overlap. And then what happens? Where they overlap, that's more than one person's world getting changed. Okay? I may have somebody that watches this one video, you know, and never watches another, but yet they say, "Hey, I can do that. That's easy." I always heard growing up, it's a big apple. You can't eat the whole apple, but you can take one bite at a time. So that's what I'm ready to do. I am ready to take one bite at a time. And I honestly have to tell you, I have to put this in here. I grew up, I know it's cute sometimes to say dysfunctional, but what it's not fun. Okay. We were dysfunctional. I think our parents, did the very best they could do with what they had, and what they knew, and the tools and the resources that they were given. And I'm very grateful for what I learned during my childhood. I'm very grateful for the parents that I had. I would not be who I am today. I'm not saying that that's, I'm not superwoman or anything, but I do love people. And when I love them, okay? Might not get the relationships completely right, but if I say I love you, I'm not one of those people that says I love you and then forgets your name or, you know, I, I'm I am forgetful. Do not think I'm not. However, if I say I love you, the next week when I see you, I'm gonna do my best to talk to you, to ask you, how you been and all. Now, I'm not good on phones. My kids will tell you I don't answer them very well, and I don't like to talk on them very long. Um, I think the only person I did talk to very long was Paula. One of my boys I could talk to for a while when he was growing up, and we had several late night, long term conversations when he moved out of town. He moved up to Dallas, the big city. Oh no. And my 18-year-old baby was in Dallas. Yeah, lots of prayers went up at that point. Um, but anyway, I'm not perfect. I don't want y'all to think that this channel is because I am so perfect. Let me share it. No, I'm selfish. I don't have resources in some places, and I'm hoping that, by us coming together and us, making this channel and being here for each other and getting to know each other and spreading this message is, everybody can help. Even if you don't tell me but how to sweep, I still know how to sweep. I can clean my floor. My floor isn't dirty anymore. That will stop germs from getting on certain things. If my kid has a cut on their foot, then that might stop that from getting infected. So by you showing me how to sweep, you have changed the fact that my child is not going to have an infection in their foot. Okay? Do you see what I'm saying? I mean, but anyway, I've always kind of been, a people person. Um, Maybe not so much the older I've gotten, but, and it wasn't that I wanted to party or hang out or whatever. Um, I didn't have just a special group in high school. I had a best friend, and she's still my best friend. Been others friends since 12. So, uh, and I'm sure that story will get out up here. Who knows what I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to diverge personal information about my kids, my grandkids, but I will share. I'm going to share. I want to share. And back to, if I keep getting off subject, I may not ever get to share this, but my circumstances after 2014 brought me down lots of roads in life that I never knew, and I didn't have any idea if I could get through it, just like this YouTube channel. But it didn't stop me from trying. And some things I learned that I didn't have any business trying, but then there were some things that I learned that I do every day now. Okay. And then in 2017, on June 12th to be specific, um, I messaged someone on a computer, and yep, computer dating. Yeah, me, the big chicken of computers. Um, and he's a computer person. He's a software developer. I don't know. I might have already said that, but so yeah, okay. And I didn't expect anything, but a couple of weeks later, I got a message back, and I ended up meeting one of the most important people in my life. Um, and he's my husband now. His name is Darren. And when he came in my life, I had just lost my dad in March of that year, 2017. And he had lost his dad, I want to say like 3 years earlier, but I'm not sure. And if any of my in laws are watching, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know the date that y'all lost him. And, but the impact, his name was George, and I was taught to call people Mr. or Mrs. And so I call him Mr. George when we talk about him. And I have learned more about Mr. George than I have about some people that are living in my life. And I really regret that I never got to meet him, because you can see his influence, I guess, maybe, in every one of his kids. I've met them, and they are some of the most loving, caring people. And, you know, coming from my family, um, and please do not think that I don't love my family. My family is great. I really do. I have some great siblings, and today's my little sister's birthday, February 1st. So happy birthday, Nancy. Um, and James is my brother. So yeah, don't think I don't love them, because I do. But when I met his family, and I think the first thing that happened that was not odd, but surprising to me, was he was at my apartment, and he got a phone call, and it was his sister who lives in Utah. I think it's Utah. Um, anyway, and she called to tell him that she was thinking about him, and she wanted to call to tell him that she loved him. That was different for me. That was different. Um, they talked for probably 30 minutes. And I want to say it might not have been the first call, but it was at least the second or third. But I want to say that that first conversation, I met her, as I guess, as well as you can meet somebody over the phone. But um, and she was a great person, and she wanted to just talk to me about her brother, and it was the sweetest thing that I'd ever seen. Somebody calls their sibling just to say, "Hey, I was thinking about you and I love you." Wow. You know what I said about my parents doing the best they could with what they had, and what they knew? They, we have talked about it, and we did not hear those words very often in our house. Um, and it was unfortunate, because we know they did, but not to hear it backed up with their own words, it doesn't make the same impact. Um, I mean, yeah, people can say they love you and then their actions don't prove it either, but it is nice to have both. But yeah, I actually saw his sister call him just to say, "Hey, I love you." And he talked to his mom several times on the phone. And then we realized that we were going to Canada in June. Yeah, we met in June of one year. I was raising my granddaughter. Again, these are all separate stories that it's going to take a lifetime to tell, but I'll do my best. And it's not the focus of this, isn't the All Angel Network. This is, aspiring to be angel, which means I'm going to aspire to be the best I can be and bring some folks with me as I do, you know. But anyway, we went to Canada in June, slept in the back of a van. We're gone for 3 weeks. My kids thought I was nuts. Um, but I met one of the best families that I'd ever met in my whole entire life. And I was 40, I was 50 by then. I turned 50 the year we met. And, or the next year maybe. I'm not sure. I'd have to add it all up. But anyway, we went up there and okay, first of all, his family, and he's the oldest, has 8 living children, 10 in all. And that's a lot of folks, okay? And but anyway, they usually have a reunion at a campground. And they all come. They all get their own cabins and they all, and we were part of that. At night, I think we went and spent the night at his aunt's house because we were sleeping in the van, and it gave us a place that we could get up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom in her house. But she was just as nice as they were. I mean, you just did not feel that you were not within a loving, caring, nurturing family. Okay. And then I met the rest of them since then, and they are all the same. I mean, I said that if I said that I love you, that doesn't mean I love you because I'm looking at you and it sounds good. And that's how these people were. They lived the love, they lived it. And I have been in awe of their family for the last 6 years. I actually went and got to spend some time with them this last year. I wish I could remember the name of the town, but I don't remember. But it was in Canada and it was for a family reunion. And we stayed in a bed and breakfast. Darren and I stayed in one room with PJ, I think, and Nova. I'll introduce you those later. Um, and his brother and his wife, and then his mom and 2 of his sisters, I think, maybe 3. I could be wrong. But anyway, and we stayed, I think, a week. And that was wonderful. I had just had surgery, very recently had surgery to that trip. And they took care of me. They watched out for me if I needed to rest. They didn't have a problem with it. And I got to get up every morning and go down to breakfast and um, eat breakfast with our family and talk and laugh and listen to stories. And I got to tell my stories, and they didn't mind. I mean, it was, and that felt good for the few times in my life that I saw a whole group of people and all they wanted to do was exchange parts of their life with each other. I mean, yes, they were down there or up there with a family reunion, so they hadn't seen some of these people forever, but they they don't see us either. So, I mean, I felt like I was part, and they made me feel included, and so I really got to know them even better um, at that point. So, anyway, that is kind of a short, kind of a long explanation for what I'm doing. I want to use this as a platform to um, further positivity and love and resources and help. And like I said, if all we do is say, I love you to somebody who hasn't heard that, you know, think about it. Um, yeah, I grew up to be stubborn. And of course, I said it to my kids. I didn't get the parenting right. That's another thing. But I learned along the way and I added what I learned. And I hope if they didn't learn anything else, my children took out of their raising. Two of my children were raised by their grandparents, their paternal grandparents, and two of my children were raised by me. That's another long story, but and my husband and myself. And so yeah, I made sure that they knew. You know, if you looked at my kids today, what did you know for sure about your mom was that I loved them. And all they'd ever have to do is say, hey, you know, it took me a little while, it took me a few years. I had to overcome my own, you know, because I was doing the best I knew how with the tools that I was given. And unfortunately, I had to find those tools. And it resulted in two of my kids being raised by their grandparents. And I didn't do anything, I didn't neglect them, and I just didn't have the right tools. And so that's how our family looked. But they knew that I loved them, all four of them. I would still, to this day, do anything for them. And now I have four beautiful grandchildren from my kids. And I have inherited with my husband, I have four stepdaughters. They are amazing. Um, I've met the two that live in the Northwest. I'm not sure of the states, so I don't want to get them wrong. Uh, and I've met them a couple of times, or maybe just one time for his oldest daughter. Um, they're phenomenal. Same kind of family dynamic. I was welcome. I was made part. I've held their babies. I've talked to their toddlers. I've seen their kids. I think the oldest one might be 7 now. Don't get me lying, please. I'm trying. I think I've asked for their birthdays like 3 times, and might be thinking that I don't know how to remember anything. But anyway, phenomenal young women, phenomenal mothers, and their kids know they love them. And to this day, I think that's the most important thing that you can give your child, just to know that somebody else in the world loves them because they breathe in and out. That's it. They wake up, their eyes open, and come a day when they don't. God forbid, they don't. That doesn't stop a parent from not loving them. It doesn't. I mean, doesn't stop a parent from loving them. Okay. But I'm blessed. All four of my kids are alive, healthy, and we'll talk about that. Um, yeah, this isn't going to be just a week's worth of a channel. This is going to be something that I'm going to take you down my journeys, and I want y'all to take me down yours. I may be able to eventually come by, meet you in person. I would love that. I want to go meet some of my influencers that I've watched for a long time, and I think that's cool. I think that's cool, that you can exchange what you're doing. So anyway, before I take this into a couple of hours, not going to stay on here. I want you to, of course, prescribe, subscribe, like, share. If you share it with a couple of people and tell them to share it with a couple of people, then that's how we can get this thing on the road, and I'll get my words right. So, tried to make this as conversational as I could. I'm just leaning back here in my office chair and got my feet up. I'm barefoot. My cat is over there. I have two cats. The black and white one is Nova. They're beautiful. And the little, what do I call her? Spitfire, or um, the little sister of the group. Her name is Star. She's a brown tabby, I think, or something like that. She's adorable. She has oranges through her fur up here, and then she has these black lines that come out on her eyes, and it looks like she has eyeliner on. I'm serious. And then I have PJ, and that's a video in and of itself. That dog saved my life, and my brother's the one that gave her to me, and there's just a whole story there. She's an angel dog. She saved me. So, um, gosh, that was a lot, 35 minutes, but thank you for staying with me. Thank you for getting to the end. Don't forget to ask people to subscribe, because if we can't get the message out, then it's not going to go anywhere, and I'm not going to give up until I get the message out. So, um, yeah, I might have to show up at your doors. No, I'm kidding. I would never do that. But I would like your support. I would like your help. I don't ask for either easily. I've always tried to, fix it myself, and I ran headlong into a brick wall that taught me real quick that I can't fix everything. Um, my kids do know that. My grandkids, shh, it's my secret. Wyatt, you'll get to meet him, I'm sure. That's my daughter's son. He's 4, and when he gets hurt, he breaks my heart because he tells me, he says, he'll come to me, he'll say, I did whatever, and he'll look at me, he says, I need some sugars. And I said, what kind of sugars? And he'll say, I need some grandma's sugars, your magic sugars. My kids are 30 and 28, no, 29 and 30 and 33 and 35. Y'all don't kill me. Um, my sugars lost their magic a long time ago, but I got it again. Um, so, also, I'm sorry, I did get distracted. Uh, so I met Darren's oldest 2 daughters, and I got to visit with them. And then one of his daughters moved down from up there to Texas, and we get to see her not very much more often because she lives somewhere around San Antonio, but I'm not sure where. Now she just had a baby and um, makes 3, and so I think with their side I have 3, 4, 8, I want to say, and there may be one coming. I think I heard that or was told that. But with this brain of mine, it holds on to some stuff and it lets other stuff go. But um, it's just beautiful. I love watching their Facebook posts. I love listening to their dad talk about them. I love to see his face light up when one of them's on the phone. I mean, he loves his girls and he loves his babies. So, anyway, I will talk about them more later. I will talk about mine. I will tell you, I'm an open book. You want to ask, ask. If I can answer it, I will. Um, I'm not on here to blast anybody or accuse anybody. I am who I am. I'm a grown woman. What happened earlier in my life, it just formed me to who I am. Um, I'm not the best, but I'm going to aspire to be the best me, and that is the name of the channel anyway. So, welcome to Aspiring to Be Angel, Aspiring Angel, and all that means is we're going to be aspiring together to be the best that we can be. So, I'll talk to y'all later. Remember to live your given moments. I was blessed to hear that on my one of my mentors' channels, and her name is Bridget. Um, I forget the name of her channel, but I'll get it. And she said one day, she said, remember, you need to live the moments that you're given. So live your given moments. And what that means is you can't do anything about the moments coming. Like 10 minutes from now, I can't even influence, basically. I can't change anything that's in the past. Believe me, there's a few things. But I can live this moment. I can make the decision in this moment that will affect my future, thus manifesting my destiny. Um, And what I want to do is I want to make decisions in this moment that affect other people too in a good way. So that's what we're doing. Um, hit subscribe. You There's no memberships yet. There's no Patreons yet. I just want to build it up, and you can share it, you can like it, and we're going to move on from here. So I will talk to y'all later. It looks like it stopped raining. May go sit on the deck a while, but I think it's still like 30 something, so maybe not. But I will talk to y'all later. Bye now.